Anyone who knows me knows how much I like Etheria Restart. For sure, if you watch this channel, but even if you watch my other content on other channels, I mention Etheria Restart. I've played this game every single day since the official launch back on June 5th, and frankly, I still love it. That is a fact. I want to get that out of the way. I mean, this game is a part of my life. I'm sponsored by this game. I'm blessed to be playing this game all the time because it's a good game, it's good content, and I'm sponsored to do it. However, I do really want to make this short video talking about the one thing I believe is really holding the game back. You know, there are the doomsayers who say the game won't last, it's not going to make a long run, it's going to be like many other gacha games we have seen rise and fall. I don't believe that at all. I think the game is in a good enough place. I think the PvP is so good. In some way, it will last for a very long time. However, I do think at this moment, the game has put a ceiling on itself that's preventing it from launching itself to the stratosphere and being like a sincerely home run game for the long term. And basically, let's get into it. The grind is insane. And I love grinding. I grind professionally. I play 4 different games. I'm a professional gacha content creator and have been for over 2 years now. It pays my bills. It provides my entertainment. It gives me my friends and community. This is what I do. I grind. I love the sweat. But the level of grind they have introduced in this game is to a level that will always stymie its growth. That's how I feel. And I know it's a simple thing to say that likely has a very complex solution. So I don't think it's like snap your fingers and Jack says, hey, the game is fixed. I made the game perfect. However, something needs to change. I mean, I've never experienced anything like it. And I've played some of the grindiest games ever, right? Like I've played Raid Shadow Legends for 6 years. The most notoriously brutal game. I played that game across free-to-play accounts for 4 years. And even then, the grind didn't feel like this. So what makes the grind feel so off in this game to me, and why do I think it's an issue that does need to be fixed? It comes down to one simple thing, and that is the lack of incremental daily or weekly progress. You grind so hard in this game, and many days you come out with literally nothing, and thus a hopeless feeling. So let's use this example right behind me here of my Niko Nana farming. So I've been farming Niko Nana basically as an experiment at this point. I can do many other things with my account. I have unbelievable characters I've yet to build because I'm so all in on this experiment or this test or whatever. And basically what I'm trying to see is how long will it take me to get the 2 shells I really want from Niko Nana? And the answer is, it's been 4 weeks. Before that, I was farming a lot too, but 4 weeks ago, I really clamped down and decided this is what I wanted to do. And I kind of regret it because I'm so bored of Niko Nana. So some of this problem is my fault. However, if we click through, pretty good drop rates, 10-0, as it always is. Niko Nana is not that hard. These are good drops, right? We got 5 of our epics that we get to sell for some nice training data. And then we've got this, right? We've got our 5 mythics. And if we look, we got this alicorn, 2 slots, no 3rd slot unlocked. We've got this alicorn, 2 slots, no 3rd slot unlocked. Then we got this alicorn, 2 slots, no 3rd slot unlocked. Same story with our Gigabyte, no 3rd slot, and same story with our Artisan. So even when I had a great run here, 10-0, and I got 5 drops, 5 mythic drops, no shells that even have a 3rd slot, let alone are the shell type I want, let alone have those 3 slots filled with the matrix set effects I'm looking for. So if we zoom out further, I am a free-to-play, so my grind hasn't been so insane over the past 4 weeks, but outside of the 2 days, but really like half a day, because I was at a bachelor party that we had the 2x drops, and I was doing a lot of Doki Doki, I've basically only farmed at max efficiency my daily everything I get as a free-to-play into Niko Nana. And I have the proof right here. So if we look, I'm at 8.2 million training data. I think that kind of shows how much it's been. Some of you guys, especially pay to win, that might not seem like much, but this is just a ton. And then if we go over here, let's actually just sell off this last bunch of epics. How many do I have of the reconfig chips? The answer is a lot. It's a lot. So if we look over here, we're looking at 1.2K. Again, I know compared to some people, these aren't huge numbers, but I just want to show you I have actually been daily farming for 4 weeks of this. And what has been the result? What have I been looking for? Well, very early on, like my first week of unlocking this was maybe 8 weeks ago, something like that. I don't know exactly when. I got a White Fang with Fury Edge, and I'll show you that now. So I've been just hoping this whole time to get one more, and I have not. This is what I got like 2 months ago, just about. Pretty nice. Not incredible, but definitely quite nice. And I was like, Fury Edge is what I want. There are obviously other good 3rd slot effects, but I'm like, I want this for at least one more DPSer. I'm going to grind till I get one of those. Has not happened. Not once. I haven't sold anything. This is the only one on the entire account. It is way too rare in this game to get a mythic 3-slot shell, and then to get that 3rd slot to be what you want. It's just ridiculous. The layers and layers and layers of RNG that you have to grind to get what you want, it's ridiculous. You know, and I'm not complaining after 4 days. It's 4 weeks of concentrated farming. If we go over here to Coloss Guard, my head's in the way, let me make myself a little smaller. The other main shell, and this is the #1 thing I want because Holden's probably my favorite character right now, besides my girl Rosa for other reasons. I really want a Coloss Guard on the 3rd slot on an Artisan. Then I want the 2nd slot to be Bloodbath, and I want the 1st slot to be Bramble or Strive. So it sounds a little specific, but basically slot 1, I have 2 options. Slot 2, 1 option. Slot 3, 1 option. Well, if we look, I've only ever gotten 3 Artisans ever to get Coloss Guard, ever in all this time. The many weeks before I started concentrated farming, and then since then, just this, right? The many weeks since before I started my concentrated farming, and the 4 weeks since then, I already had a couple of these before. I've only gotten 1 new one in the past 4 weeks, and you can see none of them got what I needed. I was lucky to get these 2 pieces, which are close, and you can see with this one at 20, I'm considering just going with this. But I got Unbreakable, Bloodbath, Coloss Guard, so I got the last 2 correct, but Unbreakable. But to me, Unbreakable, when I'm going to have a +12 Bloodbath, is basically just the worst version of Strive or Bramble, so I really want Strive or Bramble. Ideally, I want Strive, Bloodbath, Coloss Guard, otherwise I would happily take Bramble, Bloodbath, Coloss Guard. I know I'm getting very specific, but I just want to say, I'm looking for something specific, but it's not so crazy, but actually, in the current game, it is. The grind is just so tremendous. And I gotta say, it's not the most fun logging in each day, where outside of my bosses and the featured events and stuff, my daily gameplay is clicking on Grim Pursuit, scrolling to Niko Nana, clicking on Niko Nana, going to continuous battle, clicking on 10, making sure my team is loaded in, and just clicking it and knowing it's come to the point where I just know I'm gonna look and just have 10 things that I'm gonna sell. Right? And I'm just going to keep throwing it back on the pile. I do want to take a quick moment to show you all my 3rd slot shells that have ever dropped, all my 3 slotters of all time. I've not sold any of them. I've not recycled anything. And it's just so few for how much I've farmed. Fury Edge, just the one here that's on Heinrich. We go next. We got Ether Plague, just these 5 gigabytes and 2 Artisans. If we go to Coloss Guard, we have these Alicorns and these Artisans. It's 9 total. If we go to the Swift raid, this is where all of my white things have been showing up. We've got 5 of them. And if we go to Swift Smite, we've got 4 Alicorns. And then finally, if we go to Evil Guard, we've got 4 gigabytes. And that is literally it. So we're talking something like between 20 and 30 3-slot pieces I've ever had drop. And yeah, I'm not saying we need to get them every time, but I think maybe 1 guaranteed every 10 or 20, I think it'd make a pretty enormous difference. Right now, it feels like maybe 1 every 100, maybe less than that. So I'm not going to say what adjustments the developers must make, but I do think some adjustments would go a really long way towards making the game feel so much better for so many players. That's the end of my main spiel, but if we zoom out a bit, I do find this is something people are feeling in all different corners of the game, right? There's so much good in this game. The character design, the Animus design is so cool. All the new units they're releasing have something unique about them. They're easy enough to get. They fit into your roster nicely. But then what are you going to go use them on? Well, you can use them in PvP, and the PvP in this game, in my opinion, is the best part of the game by a mile. But to use them effectively in PvP, you need to build them properly. So to build them properly, you go to PvE, you farm your Grim Pursuits, you farm your Thresholds. But if you do that over and over and over, day after day, week after week, and you have no improvement to show for it, it becomes a bit tiresome. You need to have that little boost. So they just need to make certain things a little bit more accessible or a little bit more guaranteed. I don't want the grind to be easy. I'm not trying to show up to the finish line. I'm not saying as a free to play, I deserve to have perfect builds and compete all the way up to the top tiers of the Summon Arena and just dominate RTA. No, but what I would like is every couple days to have that new piece that makes me say, hey, we're taking 1 step further. The next day, hey, we're taking 1 step further. Twice a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, at least a couple times a month. I want to have that feeling that feeds that gacha fire that says, yeah, I'm grinding. Yeah, this is going to take a while, but we're getting somewhere. And I have to be honest, with a lot of content, it doesn't feel like you're getting somewhere. With Thresholds, I want to give a shout out to my editor, Mitchell, who's definitely editing this video. What's up, Mitch? He went pretty ham during the 2x weekend. Not as hard as some people, but he did dozens of mental stabilizers, and he was farming Doki Doki Inferno. And he just wanted speed, right? That's why a lot of people, especially like Mitchell, who's very into PvP, that's why they farm Doki Doki. And all he wanted was some Swift Rush pieces that are on the right side that have speed as a substat. He's looking for that Swift Rush. He wants some right side piece, ideally a good main stat, but he wants it to start with 3 or 4 substats, and he wants to already have speed uncovered. So he has as many opportunities as possible to roll a second, third, fourth extra roll into speed. And what happened? Nothing. He didn't get a single piece, not one, over dozens of mental stabilizers. Yes, other people farm more, and you can say, well, he should have farmed more, but that feeling is bad. And I know in his case, he took a little break for a second from the game because he was like, wow, that sucked.
How about this one? I call it bold and brash. More like belongs in the trash.
And this is someone who loves the game. I mean, he really does. And he's put in a situation where he's like, that left a bad taste in my mouth. And I don't think people should be having that feeling. I'm not saying it should be easy. Other games have the problem where they give you too much too fast, and then you're like, all right, now what am I doing? It's good that it's a slow grind and it's incremental. But these increments right now don't feel like increments. It doesn't feel like this. It feels like a straight plateau. And it's very hard, or you need a crazy amount of luck to take that next step forward. We're not asking for big steps, but we need little steps. We need some smaller changes, some tinkerings and tankerings underneath the surface that can result in the one big change being some progress is somewhat guaranteed. It can be really slow, but we need to feel like we're putting one foot in front of the other, and that's my big point. Because I'll tell you, I'm not going anywhere. The game is still fun enough. They still give us enough with Arena, with RTA, with good events, good rewards, things to progress through. We have our monthly content, our multi-week content, right? There's enough that keeps me engaged, but a lot of people will give this game less leash, and you're going to be left with just the diehards like this guy here, and the game's just going to settle in to a fine place, but not the incredible place I believe this game should exist in and currently should be heading towards. Because right now, I just think we're in this weird limbo where the game is just good, and a lot of people will stay and a lot of people won't. And that's fine, but that's not the max potential of the game. I see something much brighter for this game's future. So if we can make the gacha grind feel more balanced, still difficult, but still rewarding enough, I think that would be all the change in the world. Let me know if you guys have had a similar experience. I'm not trying to be super negative here. I want to be constructive. I think it's not going to be a simple thing behind the scenes, but I think enough could change, little guarantees, little quiet mercies and pities that could make the experience feel a lot richer. Things like this module forge were a step in the right direction, but I don't think it's enough because there's still too many moments you feel like you didn't make any progress over too long a period of time. It's really as simple as that. I really, more than any other video on this channel to date, would love to hear your thoughts. Do you feel like this? Am I reading the room correctly? I'd love to know. If you have any suggestions, maybe write it in here. Maybe a dev will see it. Who knows? Thank you guys so much for watching. As I said, I'm very much sponsored by Etheria Restart. So if you're not yet playing or you want to download again, use my link in the description and the top pinned comment. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.